Hey, you tapped in with the 2011 King. This that real 2A top. Straight out of LA. Let's go. Hey yo, click, clack, chrome, yeah, the setup supreme. 2011 King got the whole Mac clean. Slide heavy, drip deadly, that's my theme. Every piece I pull got that showroom gleam. Pro 2A, this a God-given right. Got a crazy collection, keep it locked in sight. From the safe to the range, we don't play. Big steel, big stance, 2A and LA. 2A and LA, run it every day. Crazy with the gear, keep the drama at bay. 2011 King, let the metal ring. Second Amendment, tatted everything. 2A and LA, run it every day. Crazy with the gear, keep the drama at bay. 2011 King, let the metal ring. Second Amendment, tatted everything. Yeah, tatted everything.
YouTube family, what's good with you? It's your boy 2A in LA, and as always, fam, anything I say in this episode, prior episodes, and future episodes is just my personal opinion. Don't take it as fact. Don't take it as law. Always do your own homework and come up with your own conclusions. Right about now, fam, I should go ahead and tap that like button for your boy. If you're new to the channel, I want to say welcome. Come on in. You can join the congregation by smashing that subscribe button and requesting all post notifications. And if you are an existing supporter of this channel, fam, I appreciate you more than you can possibly imagine. You are the reason this channel is anything. All right, fam, if you are not a member of the 2A in LA fam club, what are you doing? Look, fam, look just down below. You should see a join button. Hit that join button. For a modest $2.99 a month, you become a channel member. You get access to unreleased footage that nobody else gets to see. You automatically become eligible for our weekly and monthly giveaways, and we give away some incredible things, including optics and weapons lights and range bags, and yes, firearms. So don't miss the opportunity to maybe pick up, you know, one of the prize guns in my vast collection. All right, fam. Also, check out that QR code. Hit it. You see it's right there. Hit that QR code and that will take you to the 2A in LA website, where you can have access to our 2A in LA official merch store. We got all your merch needs taken care of. Also, I'll have all like my affiliate links and promo codes and discount codes there, as well as hot deals of the week. Hit that QR code or hit the link down in the description. All right, fam, now let's get back to the video. All right, fam, let's get this episode rolling. So look, fam, I have made a concerted effort over the years to kind of keep politics out of my channel content. I feel like for the most part, it's way too divisive, and if I can avoid it, I can avoid it. Every now it leaks in, but generally speaking, I try to keep politics and my content separate. Today I have to make an exception, because today we are talking about gun room politics. And so if you follow my channel, you know a couple of things. Probably maybe about a year and a half ago, me and my dad embarked on one of our best father and son projects in recent times, and we created a gun room at my house, right? Because I was running out of capacity with my firearms. And so I did that, and then shortly after that I kind of reshuffled my gun collection. I had mentioned this before as well, that I sold off a lot of my striker fire pistols, and I sold off a lot of firearms that were really underutilized, and I replaced them with guns that I felt like were where I was at today, right? And so here's the thing. I've kind of divided my gun room. So there is a shelf line in my gun room, and I'll put some B-roll up there. There's a shelf line in my gun room. Now, above that shelf line, there is about 18 spaces for pistols. And that space is reserved for the very best pistols in my collection. Now, below the shelf line, I have about 13 spaces. And those spaces are kind of reserved for the guns that can't make it above the shelf line, right? So kind of that second tier of firearm, right? And then I have, like at the shelf line, I have a little bay. Now that bin has been affectionately named the recycle bin, right? And then of course, I have more pistols than that. So if you add all those up, I think it's like 39 guns, right? And then I have more pistols than that. And if you don't make above the line, you don't make below the line, you don't make the recycle bin, then you go into one of the alternative safes in my home, and I just call that the backyard. You get buried in the backyard. So we got above the line, 18 guns, below the line, 13 guns. The recycle bin has 8 guns, and everything else is buried in the backyard. So look, fam, I gotta go ahead, and I was looking at this and I realized that my system was not, I had guns that were kind of out of place. So I said, let me reorganize my gun room. So the best 18 are above the line, the next best 13 are below the line, the next best 8 are in the recycle bin, and everything else is in the backyard. So I thought, since I'm doing this, I might as well bring you guys along for the ride. All right, fam, so let's start off with the guns that go above the line. So like I said, we got 18 spaces above the line. Let's get into it. I think I'm going to start off with the ones that are easy peasy, lemon squeezy. My best 6 guns. We can get those out of the way really, really quickly. First off, we've got my Hayes Customs 2011. One of the best guns in my collection. One of the best shooters in my collection. After that, we've got my Venom Customs Triport, done by my main man Don at Venom Customs again. One of my all-time favorite pistols, one of the best pistols that I've ever shot. Next, we've got the Rafferty Lucky Devil ported in comp beast, just a beautiful, beautiful firearms, and the best pistol that I've ever shot in my life, and certainly the best in my collection. After that, we'll throw in my 3 Infinities. My Infinity Baby Monster 4.5-inch barrel, island barrel, beautiful gun, phenomenal shooter. Next up, my Infinity Viscount. Just picked this bad boy up this year. Ported island barrel, full-size gun. Yeah, fam, this is definitely going to be an above-the-line pistol. Last but not least, the Infinity Iconic. Just picked this up recently. If you haven't seen this review, make sure you go back and do it. Ported and compensated hybrid pistol. Yeah, definitely an above the line gun. All right, fam, so look, after we eliminate that first 6, we got 12 more spaces above the line. I think it's pretty safe to say that my Atlas collection is probably all gonna wind up above the line. So let's drop those in now. Starting with my Atlas NICS Covert Gold Edition. Amazing looking and shooting gun, Atlas NICS. After the NICS, I'd argue one of the best 4 1/4s out there on the market, the Atlas Gunworks EOS. This gun is ported, 4 1/4-inch goodness. Love my Atlas EOS. Next up, in my opinion, one of the best all-around 2011s on the market, the Atlas Gunworks Apollo, also ported, phenomenal firearm. The next two guns are the guns I probably have out of my Atlas guns, the ones I have the most rounds through. One, my Atlas Gunworks Artemis. This is my limited optics gun. It's got that that thumb rest off to the side of it, and of course it is sight blocked. I've got a ton of rounds through this gun. It's a workhorse. Last but certainly not least, the gun that for a long time was the best shooting gun in my collection. Of course, I am talking about the Atlas Gunworks Erebus. I love the Erebus so much, I named my dog Erebus, right? Also, it has that huge comp on the front. This is an amazing pistol. All right, fam, so check it. After we finish with the Atlas collection, right, there are now 7 spots, only 7 spots remaining for the above the line title. Fam, it's starting to get tight. It's starting to get tight. But let's keep pushing. My next 2 guns, I'm gonna go with relatively recent collection, but hybrid pistols that are made at a very, very high level. We've already had a couple of hybrids, the Rafferty Lucky Devil as well as the Infinity Iconic. So let's throw in these 2 hybrids as well. Starting off with that Dark Forge Reaper, recently added to the collection, comped and ported. This is the Covert edition. Covert is the only one who has the comped and ported versions of the gun, so just be aware of that. If you want to pick up a Reaper, hit up my guys at Covert. Next up is my Combat Precision GT Dark Horse, also inline ported and compensated. Chris James, master gunsmith, did an incredible job with this pistol. Definitely one of my favorites in the collection, and definitely an above the line pistol. These next 2, I'm going to do them together. I'm going to say they're above the line. Again, though, it is starting to get very tight. I am going with the Vipers, my Terran Tactical Sand Viper and my Terran Tactical Pit Viper. These guns are amazing shooters. I have upgraded them with the Icarus Precision aluminum grips. In my opinion, the grips complete these guns, take them to their highest level. These 2 again are going to end up above the line. All right, fam, we got room for 3 more guns above the line. Like I said, it's getting very, very tight. I should also say that there are a few guns in the collection that you won't see depicted today because they are out getting work done to them. And if they were here, it could affect the outcome, but we're going to keep it pushing. Next up, we're going to have that Fowler Vanta 9 with the Valentine grip module. Outstanding, amazing shooting gun. Was able to add it to my collection this year and couldn't be happier about it. All right, fam, next up is the Cabot Insurrection. This was one of the most recent pickups in my collection. I said this gun checked a big box for me to have a Cabot in my collection. I felt like that was something that I needed to do, and of course, it's an amazing shooting pistol as well. All right, fam, that leaves room for 1 more above the line gun. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying I didn't put these guns in any specific order, only that they were the best 18 in my collection. One of the ones that is not here, is not being depicted, is the Cardinal Arms G2 gun. And so if that were here, it very well could have replaced one of these guns to be above the line, but it's not. So I get a little reprieve from having to make that decision. So our last above the line gun is your boy's Covert Watchtower Apache Dragon 1 of 1. This gun was redone for me by Covert. it is just amazing the work that was done on this firearm. All the engraving and everything make this gun incredibly special. Now, if this was just the standard Apache, the standard covert Apache, which is an amazing shooting gun, I don't know if it would have made it above the line, but the way you see it here, it absolutely warrants being an above the line gun. All right, fam, so that is the top 18 guns in my collection. I should also say that all of these guns had grail gun status during my reviews. All of them were 90 and above. The lowest gun, I think, was 90. Most of them were well above that. So all grail guns above the line. All right, fam. So look, let's keep it going. Look, now we're going to the below the line guns. We got 13 spaces below the line. Now look, fam, I gotta say, the fact that some of these guns are below the line is shocking. It's jarring, right? It's one thing to, you know, kind of think about it or whatever, but when rubber meets the road and you actually have to choose, I am amazed that some of these guns are below the line guns, but it's a testament to my overall collection. So let's get into the 13 below the line guns. This next one is arguably the most unique pistol in my collection, and that is the Cardinal Arms Alien. Incredibly flat shooting, incredibly fast, lowest bore action in the game, the Cardinal Arms Alien. Next up, in my opinion, one of the best kind of newer 2011 manufacturers on the scene who is producing some amazing firearms, and I've got something coming with them soon, so stay tuned for that. But Race City Defense RC9 Mod 1 with that distress FDE, that inline porting package, fam. This gun shoots amazing, but still finds itself just below the line. This next one is incredibly jarring and triggering for me because it is surely one of the favorite guns in my collection, and that is my Staccato XC reimagined by Vulcan Machine Works. This is one of the most popular guns on the channel. You see we got that 2A NLA on the barrel, upgraded trigger, aesthetics redone, upgraded grip module, my Staccato XC. Next up, and this was gut-wrenching for me as well, because one of his guns ended up above the line, well above the line, and this one was kind of back and forth on it, but just below the line, my Combat Precision M5. This gun is arguably my favorite 4 1/4 between this and the EOS, but I got my M5 just below the line. This next one was also kind of a gut wrencher because it is one of the ones I kind of rely on the most. It's my everyday carry, my Cosent 3.5 inch 2011 gold edition. This bad boy is chunk ported. Look, love my Cosent 3.5, and it finds itself below the line in the bottom 13. All right, fam. This next one I told you guys is one of the best value-based purchases that you can make out there in the 2011 space, and that is your boys Masterpiece Arms DS9 TC comped, the Staccato XC Killer. Got that thumb safety on it, fam. This gun is flat, it's fast, it's soft shooting, it's low recoiling, it's amazing, but it does find itself below the line. This next one is also an amazing gun, also one of my favorites, also one of the best shooters in my collection, but couldn't crack that above the line status. And this is your boy's Phoenix Trinity H-Tac, redone by my main man Skips Guns, who redid the PVD coating on the gun, put a new grip module on it, QC'd it, This bad boy has been running like a top ever since I got it back from Skip, but it does find itself below the line. Alright fam, so that was 7 of the 13 spaces. That means we have 6 spaces left below the line before you get relegated to the recycle bin. Oh, it's torture. It's torture, I say. And it will be even harder if a couple of my guns were not out getting stuff done to them. But let's finish up our below the line guns. Alright, next up below the line we have the Type A EG11. Aesthetically, I think this gun is stunning. It's a phenomenal shooter. I had said though when I first got it, it did have some issues. I had to send it back to Type A. Of all of the 2011s in my collection, I would argue that this is probably the most disappointing of them, but still remains a phenomenal gun, but below the line. Next up, my Watchtower Apache Pew View Edition, redone by my man Skip's Gun. Upgraded grip module. Skip went in and QC'd everything. I still to this day love the looks of this gun. I feel like it's a stunningly good looking gun and an amazing shooting gun. I have had zero issues with my Pew View Apache. Alright fam, I'm not gonna lie, this next one hurts a little bit. It hurts a little bit because it's one of my favorite guns in my collection, one of my favorite gun makers in my collection. It's just that my collection is so crazy that it finds itself below the line, but man, it's an amazing gun, and that is your boy Legion Precision Chirac. Such an amazing shooting gun, incredibly accurate, and I got, at the time when I bought it, from a value perspective, it was phenomenal. My Legion Precision Chirac. Next up, my Jacob Gray Covert Limited Edition. Fam, this little puppy is a bad mamma jamma. It is a great shooter. Covert always enhances things, so it's ported. It's got that brass barrel. I just think it's, for a 4 1/4, just an amazing little firearm. Love my Jacob Gray Covert Limited Edition. The last 2 guns to make the below the line list of 13 are related to one another, and that is my Staccato P and my Staccato C2. The Staccato P originally redone by Vulcan Machine Works, my C2 originally redone by Monsoon Tactical. And when all that was done, I sent them back out to my guy Skip Guns, who went in and put in Atlas triggers in both of them, did recoil reduction kits in both of them, pinned both the grip safeties, and these two, fam, are some amazing shooting guns. They would be the prize in most people's collection, but they make the last 2 spots in my 13 below the line guns. Alright fam, now let's work our way to the bargain / recycle bin. Fam, the guns that are in this bin, they really don't make no sense either. Yeah, they really don't make any sense, but it is what it is. I should also say that keep in mind there's guns missing, and we will talk about those at the end. But let's dive into the 8 guns that are going into the recycle / bargain bin. First up, one of my absolutely most favorite guns in my collection, my Springfield Prodigy, redone by DSC Gunworks with that V8 porting on it. Fam, this gun shoots amazing. It looks amazing. Definitely one of my favorite guns in my collection, but just based on the overall collection, it finds itself in the bin. Next up, another amazing firearm in my collection, my Wilson Combat EDC 9L, fam. This is an amazing shooting gun. I love the way it looks. So happy to have it, but it just hard to compete with the other guns in the collection. But yeah, the Wilson Combat EDC 9L finds its way into the bin. This next one is another one that I really like. I think it's an amazing shooter. I sent it out to have work done on it by my man Skip's Guns. And yeah, one of my faves, one of my favorite budget builds of 2025, my Fusion Firearms XP Pro, like I said, ported by my man Skip Gun with that 4 Portsmans. Skip also deleted the grip safety for me, did a recoil reduction, did a trigger job. This gun is a phenomenal shooting firearm, 100%. All right, fam, now we get into our striker fire bag a bit. These two are consistent show-ups in my bedside gun rotation. That is my FN 509 Tactical and my FN FNX, both of which were ported by my man Pedro at Tampa Gunworks. Look, these guns are amazing shooting firearms. Like I said, stay in my bedside rotation. Don't play with me. Don't play with me. I am not for play when it comes to my bedside guns. But these two do find their way in the bin. This next one, also probably my favorite striker fire gun in my collection, and that's because it's got some Glock DNA, it's got some 2011 DNA. This is your boy's G-Wagon 34 with that stippled lower chimney trigger, that combat precision upper that is ported SRO on it. Yeah, fam. Definitely one of my favorite striker fire guns of all time. Will probably always be in my collection. All right, fam, this next one is part of my everyday carry rotation. One of my favorite little guns. This is your boy's P365 XXL. Totally redone. It is ported and comped. Such a light, fun shooting firearm. And yeah, a lot of times if I've got something like joggers on or something like that, this is one of my go-to EDC guns. Love it, but definitely finds its way into the bin. All right, fam, last but not least, my Ruger Mark IV upgraded with all of that tandem cross deliciousness. This is one of my training pistols. Anytime I take somebody out who's never shot a gun before, or one of the kids or something like that, I always bring my Ruger Mark IV. Great 22, especially the way your boy has it set up here, but does find its way into the bin. All right, fam, so those are the 8 guns in the bin. So you've got the 18 above the line guns, the 13 below the line guns, and the 8 bin guns. Now, we got a couple guns that are not represented here. As I mentioned earlier, my Cardinal Arms G2 is not here, as well as my Phoenix Trinity Honcho V2, and I got one more 2011 that I can't mention right now that is that hasn't been released yet, but it is also missing. So there would be 3 more guns. Now, if I had to guess, I would say my Cardinal Arms G2 would probably be an above the line guns. That means one of those guns would have to come down. The other 2 2011s, the Honcho V2 and the other mystery gun, if you will, would be below the line. And so a couple of the guns that are below the line would end up in the bargain bin, and obviously some of the bargain bin guns would end up in the backyard. So look, this was traumatizing for me, I ain't gonna lie. It took a lot. It took a lot to do this, but here's what's crazy, fam. Just as a preview, I've got some insane guns coming into the collection the rest of 2025 and 2026. It is quite possible, fam, that a lot of these above the line guns will definitely end up below the line. I don't see, with what I have coming in from Venom, from Infinities and others, I don't see all 5 of my Atlas guns remaining above the line Probably that NICS is going to come down. Probably the EOS is going to come down. Maybe even the Apollo could be below the line at the end of next year. I definitely see my Covert Dragon, as much as that pains me to say. I can definitely see that one coming below the line. I could definitely see my Fowler coming below the line. Maybe my G2, if it was here, coming down below the line. So, yeah, fam. Yeah, and needless to say, a lot of those below the line guns will end up in the bargain bin, and everything in the bargain bin is going to end up in the backyard probably next year. But that's a problem for another day. We will do one of these gun room politics videos towards the end of 2026 so we can see how it all shakes out. All right? That's it for this episode, fam. Until next time, as always, take care of one another and peace.